Coffee with Mike. We've got a new setup here. We've got YouTube going on over here. We've got Instagram going on over here. We've got some stuff to talk about today because one of our followers over on Instagram reached out to me and he said, Mike, I need some help. I'm losing trades. I'm digging myself into a hole and I doubt that I'll ever be successful. Can you help me? So I wanted to give this person some advice because this is a fairly common feeling. I felt this way too. If you felt this way as well, let me know. Type into the chat if you've had these kind of feelings and emotions where you've had losing trades, you've digging yourself into a hole, and you have all kinds of self doubt. If you've had feelings like that, comment. Let me know. The truth is, we've all had feelings like this, right? So, step one, or well, before we get into step one, first, no, you're not alone. Well, we've all experienced self doubt before, but there's a couple of things that you need to do if you are experiencing things like this, if you're going through a similar situation. The first thing to do if you're having all these losing trades is to first stop trading. Stop trading for now. It doesn't mean stop trading forever, but you want to. There's an old saying that says that if you find yourself in a hole, the first thing that you need to do to get out of the hole is to put down the shovel, right? So that's an important step one. So you want to stop trading, but you want to clear your head. Give yourself some time between your trading right now and your next trade. And an important part of this too is you want to change your state. Now that doesn't mean that if you live in New York like I do, that you're going to go over to New Jersey or Pennsylvania or go fly across the country. What it means is change your mental state. Get some energy going. Go outside. Go exercise. Go for a walk. Do something where you are building your energy, right? Well, we're basically a giant chemical factory. Our bodies produce all different kinds of chemicals and hormones, and we can change our state. So if you're energetic, you're happy. Like think of a time when you've had loads of energy and you felt happy. Now, if you are going to make a decision, uh, how do you think that decision is going to come out? And like you have clarity, you have focus, you're able to make decisions very quickly. Then think of another time. Think of a time when you've not felt 100%. Think of a time when you've been low energy. Think of a time when maybe you had those string of losses and you're feeling depressed, right? And if you're trying to make a decision and you're kind of sitting like this, like you kind of notice, right? Like you're not just um, you don't just feel an emotion, you kind of do an emotion, right? So that's why if you find yourself stuck in this hole and you want to start to clear your head, changing your physical state is an important part of it. So all that's in step one. So stop trading, clear your head, go for a walk, change your state. Great. Now I just noticed that other light's not on yet, so I'm gonna turn that on. Very cool. People over on YouTube can see it. The people over here on Instagram don't see it. I've got some new lighting going on back there. Anyhow, so step two, right? So we elevated our state. Then once our state is elevated, we want to start to ask ourselves some questions in this better state. We want to ask ourselves, well, why is trading important? Right? Well, why is trading important? Well, why bother? Right? Because well, we're trying to most of us are trying to trade so that way we can grow and have some more money. Maybe it's financial freedom, maybe it's something personal for your family. That we all have loads of reasons why trading. And if you have some kind of financial goal, why bother out with trading? Well, why is trading uh, the method to get to that goal? If you come away and you ask yourself these questions and you come back with some good answers to those questions that you want to continue to trade, then you want to realize something. You want to realize that everyone can be successful at trading. So we're attacking that third part of it where this person was saying that I had losing trades, I'm digging myself into a hole, and I doubt that I'll ever be successful. Well, from an elevated state, you could question some of those thoughts, some of those beliefs. You could start to ask yourself, well, is that true? Is that even true that I'll never be successful? Well, if we think that way, then it starts to become a self-fulfilling prophecy. But what we can also believe is that we can become successful at whatever we apply ourselves to. Given enough time and energy and resources, we could be successful at anything, right? Like if we think about it, there was a time when we didn't know how to talk, we didn't know how to walk, right? But none of us stopped back there, just like, well, I guess this kid's not going to be a walker, or I guess this kid's just not going to talk, right? Like almost everyone on the planet walks and talks. So uh, you can be successful at what you apply yourself to. Trading is no exception to that. So realize that anyone can do it, and realize that everyone has these same kind of doubts, that you are not alone. And then finally, after you go through that part of the exercise and you're starting to gain a little bit more confidence that, yes, I know that if I apply myself and I do the work, that I can that I can be successful at this. Great. Well, now it's time to game plan. How are you actually going to go about improving? Because it's one thing to know that you're capable of doing something given enough time and energy and focus, but it's quite another thing to actually go off and put in that kind of effort, right? It's the difference between thinking about doing push-ups at the gym, or reading a book about it, and or actually going off and doing the push-ups every single day, and building yourself up and getting stronger. So what are you going to do to improve yourself? You need a game plan. So how can you do this? Right. Well, there's you could start with books. The handful of books that I would recommend that everyone can start out with. First would be Jack Schwager's Market Wizard series. If you haven't read that, if you're just starting out and you're like, well, how do I do this trading thing? Start with Schwager's Market Wizard series, because he interviewed the best of the best traders on the planet, and they gave their strategies and their methods, and whether they're long term or short term or somewhere in the middle, and you'll be able to find somebody that resonates with you. They're like, oh wow, that actually sounds pretty good. I seem to have similar goals, or I like how this produced. Great, dive deeper into that person's work and learn more about them. So Schrager. Then for me, I found William O'Neill, How to Make Money in Stocks. I found Nicholas Darvis, How I Made $2 million in the Stock Market. He was short time back in the 50s, and was using ticker tape. Like he was drawing his charts by hand, and he was able to make a fortune for himself just trading part time. So if he could do it, we could do it. And then, of course, there's my new book, The Trading Mind Wheel, which takes a lot of different concepts and a lot of different skills that, quite frankly, are siloed. And it puts them all together in one book and shows you how mindset is at the core of it and links them all together. The Trading Mind Wheel is out right now, or available on pre-order right now. So go to tradingmindwheel.com to go get that book. And we're also having a big conference on April 4th. I'm going to be there, of course. It's going to be Jason Greystone is our MC. Jim Ropel, who I started posting some reels on. If you guys don't know who Jim Ropel is, he's a legendary hedge fund manager, incredibly successful. Mark Minervini is going to be there. Austin Silver is going to be there. A good friend of mine, Adam Sarhan, is going to be there. So many great people are going to be at this thing. It's phenomenal. Akil Stokes. Akil is another great trading coach. So you're going to want to come to this conference on April 4th. It's a virtual conference. Yes, it will be recorded, and all you have to do, the conference is completely free. All you have to do is go get a copy of the book, pre-order the book, submit your receipt, and bam, you'll be entered into this virtual conference as a VIP. And if I could give you the book for free too, I would, but unfortunately, that's not something that the publisher will allow. So anyhow, start to figure out, well, how am I that's all part of how you're going to improve. You're going to start to learn. Book knowledge is important, but you also want to get around other people that are doing the same thing, right? Because I just posted the other day that uh, so many people, they feel as though they could watch a YouTube video and they're good to go with trading. Right, like it sounds kind of crazy that you're going to make a fortune just by watching a YouTube video or watching an Instagram, or it's going to take actual work in order to get to a level of success. It could be a great starting point, but it's not. You need more than that. Like nobody would just say like, "Oh, I'm going to watch a video on how to do surgery and then walk into a hospital and try to do surgery." But people will watch a couple of YouTube videos and then say, "I'm ready to trade," and bring their life savings over to Wall Street and wonder what the heck happened. So there's uh, there's steps, there's a process. Get people around you that have done the journey, that know what they're doing, that are able to help you. And the Trading Mind Wheel book and the Trading Mind Wheel virtual conference are great places to start. And then you could get coaching and mentoring all along the way with that. In fact, that's one of the bonuses. So if you go to tradingmindwheel.com and you go to if you order a certain number of books, then you'll be able to get free coaching from me, from Jim Ropel, from Adam, and there's more and more bonuses coming with all these books. So you just got to go check out tradingmindwheel.com. And what we're giving away with all this stuff is pretty freaking amazing and incredible. And I'm so happy to be able to do that for everyone. So we've got a few minutes left here. Let's see what questions are coming in. Go through Instagram over here. Yeah, you guys over on Facebook, LinkedIn, YouTube, feel free to type in questions as well. Let's see here. Scrolling through Instagram. Question from Trading Addict 24/7. I am unable to find my edge. Please help. Okay, so so that this kind of goes back to what we were saying. How can you start to learn the process? So first books to start with would be Schwager's, right? The whole Market Wizard series, because you don't want to just model anybody that you come across randomly on the internet. You want to find people that have had real verified results, and it's very easy to screenshot a couple of trades here and there, like, oh, I'm up this amount, I'm up that amount. Uh, but if you go and read Schwager's work, he's verified these people's returns over 10, 15, 20 years. And he's done all the legwork for you. He's interviewed these people and they're sharing their real life methodologies and what's working for them and things that can be duplicatable by us. So that's really one of the best things that you could go off and do. So start there to start to figure out your edge, and then when you need help refining your edge, so customizing it, right? Because you need more than just book learning. That's part of that's one of the things that I actually talk about in my book, The Trading Mind Wheel. It's actually called factor modeling, and what we want to do then is go and look at the person that we're looking at as a model and trying to figure out, well, what are the different things that are important in that success there? Well, what are the factors that led to that success? And from a trading perspective, it's very easy to fall into, well, there's certain fundamental characteristics, there's certain technical characteristics, but we also want to think about, well, what was the mindset that these people had? Well, what was driving them? um, what was their approach? How did they come to acquire the beliefs that enabled them to perform at the levels that they're performing at? So, and this is a big part of the book too. everything is belief driven. Our beliefs are basically like software, right? So if we have a belief, we're able to go off and do the thing. If we don't have the belief, then we can't do that thing because we don't have the software that's going to help us do that thing. So how do we get the the software, the beliefs that this person had? It can't just be like, oh, read it in a book and then bam, you got it. And part of it is might be reading it from a book or watching a video or um, talking to a coach, but it comes from the doing. It comes from the action. So you're getting those kind of things and you're starting to get confidence too. When you have other people around you that are doing the same things and are getting results, that's going to help give you actual belief, actual tangible belief, because you've not only read about it and learned about it, but you've actually gone off and done it. And that's what's going to give you the conviction that yes, this thing actually works. Damn, here I go. Now, one of the examples that I give in the book is that uh, relatively recently, well, within the past 2 years, I did a back study of all my past trades because I wanted to see, well, how can I better manage my trades? How can I cut my losses even faster? I cut my losses pretty quick now for about 15 plus years. And that's one of the things that has allowed me to stay in the game as long as I have. But what another question that came to me, well, if I start to reduce those losses even more, right? So let's say I take a 5% loss on average. Well, what happens instead if I take a 2% loss? It doesn't seem that big, right? Five to two, but it actually makes a world of difference. And when I went back over all my past trades and I started to figure out, well, what happens if I reduce my risk by this amount? I started making like an extra 20 to 40% per year. Like that's freaking bonkers, right? So I went back and I started to look at the different things that would have allowed me to cut my losses faster while simultaneously not kicking out what could have been a monster winner, because that's part of the fear, right? Well, with cutting losses, like, oh, I'm going to get out of this trade and then the trade is going to go off and run without me. That's all that FOMO, right? We've all heard of FOMO, fear of missing out. So, well, what I started to do was I went back through all those great trades and I went through all my past trades as well. And I started to see, well, if I cut the loss, or first thing was, well, where did these stocks tend to fall to? Right? Did they just go off and run? Did they fall back? And for the ones that did come back, if I bought them and then they fell below the price that I bought it, how far back would they typically fall? What I started to notice was each of them would get support at or around the 10-day exponential moving average. They wouldn't undercut a prior day's low, and they would also be the above either a whole or a half number. So, like, let's say the stock is trading at $100. So I could put a stop at 99.90 or even down at, like, say 99.40, whole or half numbers. So having those three things, I wouldn't get stopped out of the big winners, and I was able to raise my stop a lot faster, and that's what led to the additional 20 to 40% per year. Like that worked extremely well. And now you might be thinking, well, that sounds great. Can I go and do that myself? Well, you could go and research your past trades and see how that would affected your trades, because what works for one person, it might work for other people, especially if we trade fairly similarly. But if we trade differently, it might not work in the same exact way. That's why you also, and that's why in the book, I'm talking about all these different skills that are needed for trading. One of them is testing, but also journaling, right? Because if you don't have the data from your past trades, you're not going to be able to do this kind of a test. So that's why journaling is such a critical skill. And there's all these other skills that are outlined in the book. So that's why I really want you guys to go out and get the Trading Mind Wheel, because this book is going to be a game changer. And it's not just me saying that; it's Mark Minervini that wrote the foreword on the book. He's a two-time U.S. investing champion. It's Mike Webster, who was William O'Neill's right-hand man for a couple of decades. he had wonderful things to say about the book. Leif Serrata, recent 2019 U.S. investing champion, also loved the book. There's so many people that love the book. You just have to go get the Trading Mind Wheel and come to the conference. Come to the conference, tradingmindwheel.com. All right, we are about 5 minutes over already. Let me see real quick if there's any other questions that came in. Same thing for you guys over on YouTube, Facebook, LinkedIn, Twitter. If you guys have questions as well, type them into the chat. Let me know. And I will do my best to answer them here, even though we are a bit over time. Let's see, scrolling through Instagram. Yeah, the way that Instagram is set up, you've got to scroll through a lot of stuff here to try to find questions. No, I think that might be it. Okay, yeah. So that's going to be it for today. If you want to join me live, I saw a couple of people that did want to join in live. The way to do it is to schedule a time, right? So depending on where you're watching, if you're over here on Instagram, then what you're going to want to do is click the link in my bio, and there is a Calendly link that says Morning Coffee with Mike, and you could go in and schedule a time. If you're watching on Facebook or YouTube, then go down into the description and click that same link to book a time for the call. So that way, the thing with this is that if we're doing the live interview, then it could only be on one of the platforms. Like it can't be right here on Instagram and it can't be on YouTube at the same time, because then it kind of makes it weird, right? There's only one place to stream to. So go book the time, and then depending on where it is that you want to chat, let me know and we will hook it up. All right, that's it for today, everybody. Hope that this was helpful for you. Comment, let me know, and I will see you again tomorrow at 9:30 a.m. Eastern. Take care, everybody. Much love. Peace out.